Have you ever noticed how the things we love most are often the ones we can't keep? A sunset, a childhood laugh, the last day of summer, or the way a snowflake lands. Perfect for one breath before it disappears. It's strange, isn't it? We chase permanence, but it's impermanence that moves us. Maybe that's why snowflakes touch something deep inside us, the human heart, that reminds us how fragile everything really is. The first snow of the year always feels like a reset. The world softens, noise fades, light bends differently. I like to think of that moment, the hush before the snow touches the ground, as a small miracle. Every snowflake has traveled miles through clouds, growing, changing, spinning through layers of air, each one a frozen poem, shaped by invisible conditions. And yet, as soon as it meets warmth, it begins to vanish. But somehow knowing that doesn't make it less beautiful. It makes it more beautiful, because it's the same story that runs through everything living. The bloom of a flower, the flicker of a firefly, the rise and fall of a heartbeat. All temporary, all miraculous. If you've ever held a snowflake, you might have noticed how fast it changes. The heat from your skin is enough to start melting it. It's a perfect example of how nature creates what she knows she can't keep. Physicists call it phase transition, when matter changes from one state to another. Water becomes vapor, but it's also a metaphor. Transformation as the natural rhythm of life. A snowflake's job isn't to last. Its job is to fall, to complete its cycle, to feed the rivers, to quench the soil, to evaporate and start again. And maybe that's ours too, to live our phases fully without clinging to any one state too long. There's actually a psychological reason we're drawn to fleeting things. In art and philosophy, there's a Japanese term, mono no aware. It roughly means the bittersweet awareness of impermanence, the way beauty and sadness are often intertwined. It's the feeling you get watching snow fall at night, that quiet mix of awe and melancholy, and that's exactly why it feels sacred. Scientists who study emotion have found that humans experience a stronger emotional response to transient things than to constant ones. Our brains are wired to pay attention to what's disappearing. It's an evolutionary instinct and an emotional one. Maybe that's why we stare longer at sunsets, cry harder at goodbyes, and fall in love with snowflakes. Still, it's human nature to try to hold on. We take photos, we keep souvenirs, we make art. Wilson Bentley, remember him, the farmer in Vermont who spent decades photographing snowflakes. That was his way of holding on. He once said every crystal was a masterpiece of design, and no one design was ever repeated. He didn't just document snowflakes, he documented time. Every photograph was a way to say, I was here when this existed. I relate to that deeply. When I preserve a snowflake, it's not because I want to stop them from melting forever. It's because I want to honor the moment before it does. It's a collaboration between science and sentiment. A snowflake is water meeting air, meeting temperature, meeting chance. And to catch it, you have to meet halfway. Now, you'd think after years of working with snowflakes, I'd stop being sentimental about them, but no. I still whisper, don't melt yet, every time one lands perfectly. Sometimes I think they know I'm coming. I'll be out there with my frozen trays and chilled brushes like some kind of Arctic raccoon, catching snowflakes one by one.
Take my tray, walk around, look like...
Neighbors probably think I'm building a small spaceship in my yard, but the truth is those late night captures when it's quiet and you can hear snow landing on snow, they never stop feeling magical. If anything, humor keeps the reverence grounded. Science can tell us the temperature of a snowflake, but it can't tell us what it feels like to hold one. That's where the heart has to step in. When you study snowflakes long enough, you start noticing something deeper. They aren't designed to last, but they are designed with precision. every pattern, every arm, every detail perfect, even if it's momentary. There's math behind the magic. Snowflakes form around particles, dust, pollen, even volcanic ash. As they fall through clouds, they encounter different temperatures and humidity levels, growing branch by branch. Scientists like Ukichiro Nakaya discovered that scientific temperature bands create specific shapes. Plates around -2 degrees Celsius, columns around -5 degrees Celsius, and dendrites around -15 degrees Celsius. Each variation is a reflection of its journey through the atmosphere. Isn't that a beautiful thought? That no snowflake is random. It's a map of exactly where it's been. Maybe people are the same way. Every challenge, every joy, every heartbreak, they shape us like layers of ice. We are our own atmospheric story. Cultures across history have used snow to symbolize impermanence. In Norse mythology, snow was linked to the goddess Gadi, strong, cold, wild, but also a force of renewal. She represented endings that made way for beginnings. In Japan, the snow woman Yuki Onna appears in storms, beautiful, mysterious, and fleeting, like the snow itself. Even in Russian folklore, the snow maiden is made of snow and comes to life with love, but when she feels warmth for the first time, she melts. These stories repeat because they're true in their own way. The moment we open our hearts to warmth, change begins. If you think about it, snowflakes aren't the only fragile masterpieces we fall for. We love fireworks, autumn leaves, candlelight, first kisses, and falling stars. Things that exist only in motion, things we can't keep. Maybe we don't need to. Maybe we just need to notice them. It's strange. We spend so much of life trying to make things last. Relationships, moments, even feelings. But permanence isn't where meaning lives. Meaning happens in the noticing. A snowflake doesn't apologize for melting. It fulfills its purpose and moves on. If only we could live that gracefully. When I started preserving snowflakes, I used to feel a little conflicted, like I was trying to stop time. But over the years, I realized it's not about defying nature, it's collaborating with it. The snowflake exists either way. My work just gives it one more chapter. I've made memorial pieces, anniversary pendants, even jewelry that traveled across oceans. Each preserved snowflake still holds its original geometry, a frozen fingerprint of that moment in the storm. And every time I finish one, I think this is proof that something beautiful can pass through your hands and not be lost. So what do snowflakes teach us, really? They teach us that beauty doesn't have to last to matter. That fragility doesn't mean weakness, it means presence. They remind us that nothing about existence is permanent, but everything about it is precious. Maybe that's why humans are drawn to what melts, because deep down, we know that impermanence is what makes love real. The next time it snows, go outside, let one land on your glove or your sleeve, and watch it sparkle for a second before it disappears. That little snowflake traveled through the sky, through temperatures and winds and invisible paths just to land right where you are. And in that instant, you were both there. It's not just science, that's grace. So maybe we're drawn to what melts because it reminds us to melt, to soften, to be present, to let go of what's finished and make room for what's next. Snowflakes don't resist change. They dance with it. And maybe the human heart is made of the same stuff.